So what does Prester John tell us about history? What Prester John tells us about history is that images are often more powerful than words. You can create an entire fictional person and put them in multiple stories when that person doesn't even exist. Prester John has never existed, and yet he was put on the map of the African continent. People depicted what they imagined Prester John would look like, and he always sort of had a brownish colored skin because people understood that he wasn't a European. And so you can even create a racial type by simply using your imagination. Say, if he's Asian, if he's African, then this is what he will look like. So images are often more powerful than words. So by taking Prester John and putting Prester John on the map of Africa, what people were achieving was a convergence of two myths. One of this benevolent Christian king who was going to support who was going to support Europe in its wars against the Moors, and then the idea of Africa as this continent of wonder, as this continent that Hegel called the gold land. So the two things converged and almost justified each other. The myth of Africa as a gold land, and then the myth of Prester John as this person who is presiding over the gold. So images are more powerful than words. And not only that, more powerful than logic, which is also the other part of it, because we often assume that writing is based on logic. So images often are more powerful than logic, and they can sustain themselves over time, get repeated over time, and establish a myth as factual, all in the service of a very narrow set of interests. And in this case, it was just wealth and the funding of the Crusades, if one can put it that way. So the desire for wealth can itself become a form of logic in which you create the world or recreate the world in that image of this gold-hungry, gold-deficient Europe that is searching for an infinite source of wealth. Because Europe was also not just looking for a few nuggets of gold. People were obsessed with the idea that there would be this infinite source of wealth. Now, how does that connect to the next story? The next story is how, in reality, the story of gold is actually much more interesting than Prester John. So this is the story that I'm going to take you to next.